Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, this is spoiler season, Mill may be coming back again, and octopuses have never been stronger. Let's get to some spoilers. The first card we're looking at today is Vanguard of Bremen. 2 white mana gets you a 2/2 cat soldier with vigilance and heroic. Whenever you target him with a spell, put a 1/1 white cat soldier token with vigilance onto the battlefield. This is a great supporter for both the green-white aggro deck with Reap What Is Sown and the blue-white aggro deck with Aphera, God of the Polis. While this does fill the same spot as the ever-popular Phalanx leader, there's no reason you can't just run both and then Dauntless Onslaught to make your opponent cry. This is a decent card. It might see play in Standard, but 1/1s with Vigilance, while technically creating board position, maybe lose out to some better heroic triggers. Whelming Wave is 2 colorless and 2 blue for a sorcery. Return all creatures to their owner's hands, except for Krakens, Leviathans, Octopuses, and Serpents. This is purely a flavor card. Putting that aside, being able to wipe the board of everything except gigantic unplayable monsters and water snakes seems pretty good. Yes, it's a sorcery. That's a point against it, but Sea God's Revenge sees extensive limited play. While you can target just opponent's creatures with that, Whelming Wave will always go in a control-type deck, one that doesn't exactly rely on early game pressure. Who knows, you could end up returning your Omen Speaker to your hand. That's value right there. I never thought we would see an enchantment creature zombie, but Spiteful Returned makes it look good. 2 mana for a 1/1 with a bestow cost of 4. Whenever Spiteful Returned or enchanted creature attacks, defending player loses 2 life. At first glance, this card may seem underwhelming as a 1/1 body, but it's pretty good for limited. Against an empty board, it represents 3 power, and sticking it on something can generate some major life swings pretty quick. While this may not be the best standard card out there, it was clearly made to see limited play. Also, that art. Awesome. Next up is Hero of Laena Tower, 1 green for a 1/1 human warrior with a heroic trigger. Whenever you cast a spell that targets her, you may pay X. If you do, put X 1/1 counters on her. At first glance, I think this card is pretty sweet. You can pay some mana and make her huge really quickly. The problem is that she has no built-in evasion, and the mana sink to make her powerful is extensive. I wanted to think that the hero could be standard playable, but think about the format right now. There's just too much removal for something that takes this massive of an investment to get going. This is a great limited card and it should wreck house there, but standard viability is certainly in question, with me personally not being that optimistic. The card you've all been waiting for has finally been spoiled. Phenax, God of Deception, is 3 colorless, 1 blue, and 1 black for a 4/7 legendary enchantment creature god with Indestructible. He has the same devotion mechanic as the other gods, and gives creatures you control the ability Tap. Target player puts the top X cards of their library into their graveyard, where X is this creature's toughness. There are a few different ways to look at this, let's go over them. The most common way to see this card is as a disappointment. Many blue-black players were hoping that Phenax would bring something new and different to the archetype. Instead, milling is forced even harder. A lot of people are upset by this, and I get where you're coming from. However, I'd like to approach it a little differently. First, Phenax is a bomb in limited. In a 40-card format, he himself can mill for 7 cards per turn once activated. That's insane. That's death in just a few turns. If you pull him in sealed or draft, you have to run him unless you literally have no other black or blue cards. Second, while many people hate mill strategies, they are hilarious for Commander considering the deck size is so large. Phenax enables an entire mill deck by himself. I can see a lot of people having fun with this card in that format. In addition, inspired enablers are all over the place. The ability to untap a creature is going to exist in the standard and limited format coming up. While I don't necessarily think mill is going to be the next best deck, maybe there's some interaction that can make Phenax a little stronger than he seems for standard play. Now that we have all the minor gods from this set, who do you think is going to have the most impact in standard, if any at all? I'd also like to know how you guys feel about Theros block being very story-driven. Do you like that cards are made with flavor in mind rather than utility? Whelming Wave is a perfect example of one such card. Let us know what you think in the comments. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Born of the Gods spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.